Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with allthingsbbq.com, and this is Grilled Turkey Roulade. So today we're cooking up kind of a Thanksgiving alternative turkey in the form of this Grilled Turkey Roulade. We're gonna start with a whole bone-in turkey breast. We'll bone out those breasts, butterfly them so they're nice and flat, give them a little bit of a soak in a brine so they can start to tenderize and soak up some of that flavor. And then when we lay them out, we're gonna put a pesto, sort of a holiday pesto across the top of them with fresh herbs. You get your sage, rosemary, thyme. We're using pistachios, some olive oil. Once that's kind of in that pesto form, we'll spread it across the breasts, roll them all up, and wrap them in the turkey skin. And they'll be cooked in that cylinder shape on the grill. So what you end up with are these sort of turkey medallions of turkey breasts that are marbled with that holiday pesto. So let's start by doing some knife work. So this is your bone-in turkey breast. This turkey was probably around 13 pounds. The first thing we gotta do is get the skin off of it. So I'll kind of come over here to the sides. We're gonna pull that back. You wanna be careful not to tear it at this point. If you do get a tear, it's not the end of the world. It still can wrap around the breasts in the end. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you'll be a little bit careful getting your hands underneath here so you can keep it all in one piece. So work that all the way to the center of the breast and flip it over and come at it from the other side. For the most part, you can just do this by hand. If you need a little help from the knife, just short little cuts. There we go. So loosen that from both sides now. We'll come up to the top. Let's just work this all the way down. There we go. So skin off. So this is what we're gonna actually wrap the bird in. And we don't need all that extra fat on there, so I'm gonna pull some of that off. It's gonna help that render a little bit better. Again, a lot of this can be done by hand. You just want to be gentle with it. And then if you need your knife, then get in there and shave a little bit down with your knife. Taking care not to cut through the skin. Now, I actually like to start with whole turkeys when I do this and just take the legs and wings off because you tend to get better skin coverage all around versus buying just the bone-in breast, but you can totally do it with just the bone-in breast. So that looks good for now. We may do some trimming around the edges a little bit later, but we can set this aside and go ahead and bone out the breasts. So you're gonna look for that breastbone right in the middle, come right along one side of it, and just slice down, just hugging that rib cage right there, peeling back the breast meat. Take it all the way down to the bottom. Not much to it. There's your turkey breast. Do the same thing over on this side, right along the breastbone. All right, so the rest of this is something you can save for your turkey stock when you're making your gravy or for soups or whatever. For now, we're gonna set it aside. And then these turkey breasts are what we're working with for our roulade. Now the tenders, they're probably gonna fall off at some point. So I'll just go ahead and take them off. It doesn't mean we can't incorporate those tenders into the roulade. If anything, it's nice to just have a little piece to kind of even everything out, but we'll get there. What we do want to do with these breasts, you can see how uneven they are, is we're going to come in here and butterfly this out. So just knife should be kind of horizontal, even with that cutting board. And now you've got one big flat piece of turkey meat. So now we're gonna do the same thing with the other one. Again, I'm just gonna go ahead and take that tender off just to start. That little bit of cartilage out of there. Press that flat, look for that mound, and that's where we're gonna butterfly. Just gonna be careful not to cut all the way through at the end. One big flat piece of turkey. So that's it for the knife work. We're gonna move on now to the brine. So we're gonna be brining with the Sweetwater Spice Classic Holiday today. This is an apple-based brine, but it's also got a lot of those same herbs we're gonna have in our pesto, the sage and the rosemary, and then a hint of citrus. Now, since this is a concentrate, just a half bottle, which is what we're gonna use today, will do up to 2 quarts of liquid. We also need to add just a little bit of salt to that. We'll start with the water. We may not need the full 2 quarts. We'll see here. We just need enough to get our turkey submerged. So I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of kosher salt. Let's whisk that in so it can start to dissolve. So now that we've got a little more than half our liquid in, we're gonna put our turkey into the brine. The great thing about only using part of this bottle is, or if you're looking to just do a whole turkey breast without the roulade part, is this will work just as well. Level up on the briner bucket to an 8 quart and the same brine and you'll be set. But as you can see, we're just about filled to the brim already. We're gonna use 6 of those 8 cups and then lock the plate in place to keep the turkey submerged. Pop the lid on and throw it in the fridge for 1 hour. In the meantime, we'll make that holiday pesto. Now for this herb paste, or holiday pesto as we're calling it today, we just gotta bring all of these ingredients together in the food processor. So I'll show you what we're starting with. We've got equal parts thyme, rosemary, and sage, a few cloves of garlic, some pistachios. We're gonna do a little citrus here in the lemon, and then some olive oil. Now I'm gonna spend a little time stripping all the leaves off the stems of these herbs and we'll bring it all together. So now we got our herbs in there. Gonna go ahead and just smash down this garlic, get rid of that skin, and those can go in. Don't have to really do any chopping on them. Next we've got our pistachios. I'm doing 1/3 cup of those pistachios. And before we can get any more stuff in there, we're definitely gonna have to break this down. So I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil now. We need about 6 tablespoons total. So let's go ahead and just start with maybe half that, enough to get this process started. All right, made a little bit of room. Let's get the rest of our oil in there. Also go ahead and get our citrus in at this time. We're gonna take some of that zest off the lemon. A lot of aroma in the lemon zest. It's a great way to get the lemon noticed with everything else that's going on in there. We'll squeeze our lemon juice in there. All right, so that is our holiday pesto, broken down nice and fine. I'm not gonna worry about salt at this point because we've got something to cover that as we assemble our roulade. So I'm gonna start by spreading out our turkey skin on our frog mat, which is just a silicone coated mat to prevent sticking and to help hold this all together. We're gonna season this up on both sides with our Cattleman's Grill trail dust. Great all-purpose seasoning, great savory flavors. We want a salty, crispy skin to finish, so we're gonna get this seasoning on both sides. Now we need to get our turkey breasts out of the brine. I'm gonna take some of that excess moisture off the surface before we lay this down. We're gonna try and arrange this so that everything's kind of on one level. And this may take a little jigsawing to figure out. So that's looking pretty good. I've kind of got this gap right here where we could go ahead and throw in one of these tenders. That other one we might just throw on the grill as a little snack, because I really like the way that's all looking together, just like that. So now we're gonna come in and hit the turkey with that trail dust, and this is that salt I was talking about. That's why we didn't add any salt to the pesto itself. We want to get that salt right on the turkey. We'll be able to spread our holiday pesto around to cover the surfaces. And then one last thing before we start rolling, we're gonna do some feta cheese in here. About a half cup will do. So I'm gonna press all this together and do maybe just a little bit of a manual work here, try and get it nice and even. And then this is kind of the messy part, and it may take a couple of tries to get it right, but what you wanna do is you're gonna start to roll these together. So you're gonna lift up on that skin so it rolls over itself until that skin meets all the way to the other side. Pull it tight. Just keep that nice and tight. A little overlap of skin at the bottom, which is just fine. Wrap that around. This is coming out just right. I'm gonna fill up that frog mat to the fullest, and then I'm gonna grab a little kitchen twine because we're gonna roll this up nice and tight so it holds its shape. Let's just hit that skin just one more time with a little bit more seasoning. So I'm gonna bring the frog mat all the way around here and just roll it as tight as possible. I'm gonna start cutting some lengths of twine here. Cinch that down a little bit. So one on the center, one on each end here. We want that to really stay in there tight. So let's do one on the length of this thing. Now today we're roasting the turkey roulade on the Napoleon P500 Gas Grill. We're gonna do this an indirect cook. So we're gonna cook this up on the second shelf at roasting temperatures, about 425, 450. But we've got kind of a unique setup. Let's kind of explore that a little closer. So you can see that the grill grates are actually out. This is gonna roast here on the second shelf. We've got our cast iron griddle underneath it. Now, it's gonna produce some radiant heat, which is fine, so we may need to roll this throughout the cook. But the real reason this is here is because we wanna be able to sear this skin at the end of the cook right here on the cast iron. Of course, we'll have to cut off the frog mat to do that, but for now, we're just gonna let this cook indirect. My roulade's been on for an hour now, and it's temping at 165 on the internal, which is exactly what we're aiming for. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it out of the frog mat, give it a quick sear on the cast iron griddle. Oh yeah, we've already got some nice browning and rendering on the skin, so it won't take much to crisp that up. Now for most of this cook, we've just been utilizing the outside burners for that indirect heat. Now we've got the burners on high right underneath our griddle so that we can get a quick sear. But honestly, it already looks really nice. This will be a quick process. But the griddle's kind of finished off any of those spots that weren't quite crispy already, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off and we'll let it rest for just a little bit before we slice into it. But the roulade's been resting for about 20 minutes now. Plenty of time for those juices to redistribute. Let's go ahead and slice into it and see how we did. Let's go ahead and just get a little cross section of this thing. There you go. Got all that holiday pesto stuffed right into the middle. That filling come oozing out right there. Smells incredible. So many herbs going on. Got that feta that's just about squished right in the middle there, all warm. Let's have a taste. My goodness. Look at that. How tender and juicy that is. You take that time to do the brine, that extra step, it rewards you with the juiciness and then with that foundation of flavor. Because we're not only tasting the feta and the herb, but that apple brine as well. Super savory, incredibly tasty. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out allthingsbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video, including the Grilled Turkey Roulade kit, which includes everything that you need to make this recipe today. If you enjoyed the recipe, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to allthingsbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.